Hi everyone, my name is Jake. I'm a senior in high school and I'm going to be a junior mentor at the Ekal Appathon in San Diego this year. It'll be my second year volunteering as a junior mentor, and I'm really excited to see you guys at the competition and make some really cool stuff. So as you might already know, this year we're going to be expanding the competition into animation and video game design as well as app design. So we found some additional development platforms that will help you get started if you decide to pursue gaming and animation. And one of those that we really like is called Alice. It's free to use and it's really great for some pretty cool 3D animations and games. If you decide that you want to use Alice, we strongly recommend that you download it beforehand through the link left in the description and get some familiarity with it before the day of the event. So before we get started, I just want to explain that I'm not going to be going over the basics of Alice. I'm just going to be showing you an example of what's possible with the program. So I will leave several links to tutorials in the description below, and I encourage you to check those out and play around with Alice a lot before the competition. Alright, so let's jump right in. I'm just going to show you a demo of the little game I've created just so you can get an idea of what is possible with Alice. So basically, we're on Mars, there's an alien, and you are controlling this little rover. And as you might have read, the alien is chasing you, and your job is to get to the spaceship on the left before the alien catches you. So in this case, I'm going to make it, and I get a nice congratulations from the game. Now if I start over and if I hit the alien, you can see that I lose the game. So the really cool thing about Alice is all of the native game models that come with the game. So as you can see, there's tons and tons of 3D models that you can add to your game. You start off by selecting a scene. In this case, I selected Mars as a pre-designed scene, so that's all very easy. It's easy to drag and drop in different characters like I'm doing with the alien right now. I just added another alien, and then over here you can mess with the object's properties. Okay, so now I've switched over to the code window. As you can see, it's all drag and drop. You don't have to actually write any code, which is great if you are starting out with coding. So let's start with taking a look at the event listeners. So what these do is there's easy ways to get user input. So here I have a procedure called key pressed. This block of code will activate whenever a key is pressed. Now I have a bunch of if statements here that control the behavior of the rover and the astronaut on the rover. So I have if statements for each key, up, down, left, and right, and then the associated movements are either backwards and forwards or rotate left and rotate right. Okay, so now I'm just going to walk you through really quick the main method of my code. It's called my first method in Alice. So what this first part is doing is just controlling the first animation of the rover and the astronaut. So to get something like move or turn, what you would do is you would select the object either directly in this menu or from this drop down list, and you would go to procedures, and from there you have procedures for position, for orientation, for motion, etc. So it's very easy to drag one of these into your block of code and give it the references it needs, and that's all you need to do. So what I've actually done for the messages that appear on the screen is I initialize them all in the setup scene menu, and then I change their opacity to make them disappear or reappear. So once the starting message is done, I set the opacity to 0. So down here in this while loop is where things get interesting. So let's just first go through what happens in the while loop. The main two things that happen are the alien moves towards the astronaut and the alien turns towards the astronaut. So you'll notice that I have a very small duration for this movement, and that's because I want the movement to look continuous. So rather than having big jerky motions, I want a lot of small motions that'll make it look like a natural motion of the alien across the screen. You'll notice that in this line, I set the distance that the alien moves to this variable called alien movement distance. And I initialized that up here as 0.05, but I wanted the alien to gradually speed up over time. So every time this while loop iterates, alien movement distance is set to what the function increase alien speed returns, and let me show you what that function does. So first of all, functions are basically a chunk of code that will return a value, and procedures are a chunk of code that do not return a value. So Alice gives you those two separate options to make things a little more clear. So in this function, what I do is I take in the old distance as a parameter, and then I return the old distance plus 1/1000th. So the result of this is that the alien gradually speeds up over time. Now the rest of this while loop is what controls the end of the game. So if the alien is colliding with the astronaut, then that means you lose the game. So I set the opacity of the lose message to 1, and then it's the opposite with if you get to the spaceship before the alien hits you. And then what I do is I set this Boolean variable called isGamePlaying to false, and what that does is it breaks out of the while loop, so the alien no longer moves. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope that this video was helpful for you if you are someone who has some great ideas for games or animations that you want to create during the Appathon. I'm really looking forward to working with a lot of you guys, hopefully with Alice or whatever other platforms you choose to use. I think we're going to see some really new, great, and creative things that might not have even been possible last year. So yeah, I hope to see a lot of you there. Thanks for watching.